And good evening. Welcome to another episode with Talk with Antonio. I am your host, Antonio, and I am transmitting right now from the great city of Malibu. The reason is because I am here taking care of a house that I come to every month, and right now it is a beautiful sight. I brought my equipment today to record, and I mentioned this to my girl, and she said it was a great idea because right now it's a change of scenery. Because usually I always record in my room / studio, and like right now I'm here using my Rode Podcaster, and my microphone, and I'm looking at I see this big window here in this house, and I see the ocean in the background. Wow, Malibu has this beauty, people. And it's just like relaxing. And just like right now, I'm just here recording. And it's just like so relaxing and such. But yeah. And let's see what happens though. And today's episode is going to be about two things. And it's all about in terms of deactivation in both DoorDash and Spark. And also, I want to talk about the late Willie Mays. Okay, well, first and foremost, let's talk about. Look, right now, I haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, which I do apologize, people, because I have been dealing with a lot of. I've been stressing out a lot. Because on Memorial Day week, on Monday at 6 a.m. in both the app and my personal email. Pardon me if I have my stuffy nose again. I got an email from if people who do delivery driving has heard of Checker, and I have my own personal views on that little third party company because I actually love those motherfuckers. And I'll tell you why. Okay, I used to work for DoorDash in the past, and I got fired in December because of supposedly because I took my time picking up the food and delivering the food, which is something that I have a different opinion about that because number one, when I used to work for DoorDash, I have tried to appeal to see if I could get reactivated, and I have been denied a lot. Like I would say a couple times already, and I have tried. My girl told me one time not to apply again because it's just how can I say this? She said it pretty well, but I just kind of forgot. I have a tendency to forget things nowadays, which is something I don't know, maybe because I'm getting old or something like that. But my girl says it's just to move on, and she is absolutely right because of I have tried to apply to work at DoorDash again in the past when I got fired on December 17th. And I applied the next day to get reactivated, and it was denied. They said to reapply again in March 17th of the following year, which I did. I actually a day after March 18th, so I tried to to get reactivated, and it was fucking denied. And then afterwards, they said no because of this and that, yada, yada, yada. I have my own different opinions about that, about the whole reactivation thing. But before, DoorDash is in the past now. Fuck them. But I have been reading a lot of things on Reddit and a lot of comments on Google, Yahoo, etc. In terms of the appealing deactivation, I've always said this. I spoke to my loved ones, spoke to my girl, I spoke to my friends about this. What is the point of appealing and what's the word I'm looking for? Applying to get reactivated, and then you say you try and you give a good explanation. They say that the deactivation still stands. I've always asked myself, what's the point of that? But before I get into that, I want to say that I did apply when I tried to apply for to get reactivated at DoorDash back then. It was denied, so I had to wait until March of the following year. But at that time, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I was out of a job. But lo and behold, I remember my girl sent me a reminder. What about Spark? And Spark, I did apply to work, and I got approved in, I think it was 2022, I believe. But I didn't really, now, like I said before, I have a tendency to forget things now. But now, whatchamacallit, now I remember afterwards when I told my loved ones and I told my girls I got fired from DoorDash, and then she reminded me, what about Spark? I was like, oh shit, I completely forgot about that. And then I started working in December, and everything was going well. But then in May of this year, I got terminated / deactivated because of some ticket that I got in September of the year before, which was 2023. But this is okay. Look, I'll say why I got that ticket. I was driving on the freeway, and now I learned my lesson because of what happened. I was texting while driving, and then it was like at the exit of the freeway, and lo and behold, those fucking pieces of shit highway patrol, they don't forgive. They're like fucking buzzards. No, I'm sorry, not buzzards, vultures. Because I have a strong hatred towards law enforcement, highway patrol, LAPD, sheriff, doesn't fucking matter. To me, they're all fucking scumbags. But especially the highway patrol, because I have dealt with highway patrol in the past. I did get a ticket for texting while driving in 2018 in Malibu, and it was for a fucking sheriff. And those motherfuckers are the worst, especially the motorcycle ones, people. They are the fucking worst. And especially how much they charged me, and I had to go to the Santa Monica courthouse, and they're like the biggest vultures of all time, blood sucking. All of those fucking people that work in law enforcement are nothing but a bunch of blood sucking leeches. But forget about that. But in September 2023, 2 months before I got fired, I was texting my girl. Hey, we're all guilty, And the highway patrol caught me, and they gave me a ticket. So I waited until I think it was a few weeks afterwards. So I went to court to see if I could apply for traffic school, but somehow I didn't qualify. I don't know why I didn't qualify, because the first time that I did get stopped, and I got that ticket back in Malibu, I did go to traffic school, and they ignored that point. It didn't really fucking matter. So I tried to go to the Chatsworth courthouse, and went to the courthouse to see if I could get that point off, and they say no, I didn't qualify for traffic school, which was weird. But you know what? I didn't care. I just wanted to pay that fucking ticket and move on with my life, and I did. I did pay my ticket. And I didn't really pay attention to that. But like I said before, I got that on my personal time. Excuse me. I got that ticket on my personal time. I wasn't working or anything like that. I was driving the freeway, and then, I was texting her. But it doesn't fucking matter, And Memorial Day weekend, I got that email. And I got from Checker, and they are like the worst. No, I'm sorry, people. And then Checker said that they send the information to Spark. And then I used to work for Spark, and then I immediately went to the Chadwick courthouse, and they told me that I have nothing. If I get another texting while driving in 30 plus months, that would have been a different story. I would have had the point. But they said that I had nothing. And I even called the DMV, which is from the horse's mouth. They told me straight from the horse's mouth. They said that I had nothing. My driving record was clean. Nothing. And then I called Spark, and they say that everything is okay. I have nothing to worry about. And then they say that the following week they said I guess it was an automatic email, the same thing. I called again, and then they say no, don't worry about it. Lo and behold, a few days later, fucking Spark Driver said that I was deactivated. I have tried to appeal. I tried to get reactivated, and they say the deactivation still stands because of what happened in my drive record. And this is something that I have read a lot in regards to Checker. And I've noticed that a lot of people have complaints about Checker, and I was like, okay, this. I don't understand why they have. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. And I have read a lot of reports saying that a lot of people have been in disputes with Checker, and not just with delivery driving gigs. It has to do with, I don't know why they have like this power. And I guess, and I have spoken to a lot of people with Spark or DDI or whoever. They say that's because they won't even call DMV or the courthouse. They will only take the word of Checker. And I personally believe that Checker, to me, have fucked over a lot of people in terms of not getting their job back. I've actually read in Google, it says here that, can I sue Checker for false information? It says here, and I quote, so you can dispute the false information in your background check report and file a lawsuit to make yourself whole again, but you cannot force an employer to give you the job you had or wanted. Okay. It says here that a lot of people have been in problems and still in regards to Checker, and I've lived this, and I would say that Checker to me is probably like the biggest fucking scam of all time, because they fucked a lot of people, not just in terms of jobs, and also because of people who want to get an apartment, and they do background checks, driving records. In terms of my background check, people, I'm okay. But it's just my driving record, because I don't understand why Checker says that I have that point or whatever on my driving record, and I called the DMV, and they say that, like I said, straight from the horse's mouth, they say that no, my driving record is clean. Then what the fuck is that? And it says here, what is the controversy with Checker? It says here that understanding the impact of false background checks. And it says here, and I quote, Checker, a widely used background check provider, plays a pivotal role in employment decisions for gig economy platforms like Uber. False information on these reports, such as incorrect criminal records or mistaken identity, can lead to unfair job rejections. But you know what? With the other gig job that I have right now, they have been more understanding. I have tried right now. Look, like I said before, I don't fucking care about DoorDash. They're in the past. I don't fucking... You know what? I'm actually kind of glad now that I think about this for 1 second, people. I have said that when I started with... back in the days when I used to do the whole... when I started with the whole gig economy, I first started with... I believe it was Lime scooters. I started with them. I picked up scooters elsewhere and I brought them, but they were the ones that gave me the platform to apply at other gig jobs. Like, for example, I started with Postmates. Then I tried with DoorDash. Well, with Postmates, I'm not gonna lie. I did have good experiences with Postmates, and I will always have, fond memories of Postmates. But they were bought out by Uber Eats, which is fine, you know. And then I stuck with DoorDash, and I stuck with it for X amount of years until they deactivated me. And then I went to Spark Driver. And like I said before, right now I have appealed to see if I could go back with Spark Driver. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is going to be the last time. And if nothing happens in terms of like what's going to happen with my old job with Spark, and it's done. It's over. Like right now, I don't know what happened, but everything was going well. But you know what? And this is something that I've had discussions with other people on Reddit. And then it says here that in terms of Spark was going well, but now because of a lot of people like these, I'm not going to say the word, these people were using bots or these other, supposedly these people were using these, I don't know, these are just pretty much conspiracy theories. The only thing that I will say is that I think I remember when it was like in January of this year when I was working with Spark early, and I believe it was in Santa Clarita. I remember one time I used to park there, and you know, when you're getting out, you're just pretty much in your car, and you just want to like get out, you're stretching. I remember one time I told my friends about this, that I was walking, you know, stretching and everything, and then there was this one car next to me, and I saw it, and he had like 3 cellular phones, like using just to get all these other, like, I'll bet dollars to donuts that he was using a bot for him to get all these like higher up, like high paying orders. And I was pretty pissed off when I remember when I saw that, I was like, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I remember when I saw that, my blood was boiling. I was fucking pissed off, and I was like, "Oh, this guy is taking all these high-paying orders." He didn't see my face reaction, but I told this to my friends, and we're like, "Yep, he's probably using a bot." I even told my girl about this. Like, she was like, "I don't know, but it could be." But I'll bet dollars to donuts this guy was using a bot so he could cheat the system. But whatever. I like, and you know, when it comes to deactivations with both DoorDash and Spark, look, I don't know how Spark it is. Like, you don't have to wait like X amount of, you don't have to wait like 3 months for you to apply and get reactivated like with DoorDash. This is something that I read right now. Give me 1 second. Okay, and this is on Reddit, people. It says here, the subject is deactivated for low completion rate, appeal denied. Long post. This is what it says here. This is from a fellow called Boston Samboni. This was written about 2 months ago. DoorDash deactivated me last year for a high cancellation / low completion rate. I didn't realize that they can do that, as Uber Eats doesn't bother me about the ongoing high cancellation rate. At times 50 to 65% last year for a few months, 20% recently. A few months after I started Uber Eats, they started to note on my app and continued to note on screen that my cancel rate is higher than average in your area, but no punishment, and for almost a year suddenly appearing. Yes, if I recall, my DoorDash acceptance rate was also low in addition to my high DoorDash cancel rate. Okay. I have noticed that a lot of people have been complaining that DoorDash has not been, is not what it used to be. And you know, when I first started with DoorDash back in 2019, it was a different era. There was this one giant area, because I used to focus on the Burbank area, but back then it used to be Burbank, Studio City, Burbank. It used to be like one giant area. Like in Santa Clarita, it used to be one giant area. And I believe this year was Encino, Sherman Oaks. Here, it used to be one fucking giant area. But I remember, I think it was like in late 2019, like pre-COVID, they divided Studio City, Valley Village, and then they divided Burbank. And they divided Santa Clarita and Humphreys. So I was like, what the fuck is Humphreys? Basically, it's like the east side of Santa Clarita. Like, it had Canyon Country. I don't know what other cities, but like in Santa Clarita, they just focus on Stevenson Ranch, Castic, Valencia, and Saugus. But everything was going well, you know. But prior for me to getting deactivated from DoorDash, I did notice that it was paying low. I remember one time that I used to work mainly in the Burbank area, but then I kind of like got out of there because in the Burbank area, I remember that they were sending me like orders of like, I believe, I think it was $10 from Burbank to Echo Park. I was like, what the fuck? Do you realize the mileage from Burbank to Echo Park for 10 fucking dollars? Give me a break. And I remember one time I saw on Reddit, there was one fellow that was asked, that the dude asked for, I think it was the sandwich from, I think it was like this Italian restaurant from Burbank to, I believe it was Inglewood, for $40 on Uber Eats. But $40, that even though from Burbank to Inglewood was way too fucking cheap. And the mileage, besides the mileage, the traffic, you have to take the 405. Can you imagine that? Fuck that. And it says here, by continuing the story on Reddit, it says here, but DoorDash can deactivate me from a low acceptance rate just like Uber can, right? Just the completion rate matters with DoorDash. And this is something that I did notice, that prior for me to get deactivated, if your completion rate went down 90%, you were on bounds for you to get deactivated. I did see that on YouTube a while back. And it says here that, okay, it continues with the story. It says here, okay, I guess. DoorDash might have sent warnings to my email before deactivating me, but I don't check that email account, and I don't think DoorDash ever notified me in the app about it. I only ever noticed my acceptance rate in the app, but not any cancel rate if I recall. The reason my cancel rate was so high is that I often leave the app on at home to check how busy it was. I tap on the screen to reject offers, but sometimes my finger tapped and accept by mistake, so I immediately cancel. No, never knew it would cause my eventual deactivation. Sometimes I call support to cancel, and sometimes I confuse them how to cancel. They sometimes or maybe mention how it would affect my completion rate, but I shrugged it off. Figured out it was no big deal, just like that Uber Eats. So I appealed, but it was denied. I had done maybe only about 200 deliveries, a 4.9 rating briefly, then eventually to a 5.0 rating, and no complaints that I'm aware of, and certainly no stealing food. After the denial of my appeal, support told me that I could apply in 90 days, so I applied after 90 days. Deny again. After again mentioning I wasn't aware of the strict completion policy, I would like another chance. As I learned from the deactivation, I will not cancel unless it's an emergency. Another agent said to reapply with a new number or the same email. I'm not willing to get a new phone number yet. You know, this is something that I was told maybe about like a couple of months ago when I tried to reapply. They told me to sign with a new phone number and with a new email. And I was like, would I risk why would I do that just to get a job back that's going to pay you low? I mean, like they say that they would prioritize new drivers and forget to push aside the old drivers, because like the old veteran drivers know what the fuck is going on, and they would just like like how like the new drivers would just take any order, whatever, now not care about the distance or the how much it pay. They just care about doing the job nonetheless. I mean, when I first started, I would say I wasn't picky per se, but I was, I was just trying to do my job. But, later on, I got wiser. And that's why DoorDash doesn't really give a shit about that. They just want to, fuck you over and just say, oh, no, the deactivation still stands. And this is something that I'm going to talk about right now. But continue with the story here. It says here that, but then a support agent said last night said a new phone number will help me because I still be tracked with my social security number. Should I try with a new phone number anyway? Has anybody successfully appealed a deactivation due to a bad completion rate? Thanks for reading all of this. A lot of people have said, so you're just sitting around fucking with orders, screwing with both customers and your other drivers, you're toast. Completely justified deactivation. You could try taking some responsibility for your actions. No one's going to reactivate you. It's permanent. You're done. I'm not even going to discuss your misclicks BS story. I hope you fare better at your next job. Basically, these two are just being like corporate bootlickers. Another one said, I don't know why agents are telling you all that. Deactivation for low completion rate is permanent. Another dude said, nope, you're done. DoorDash never reinstates drivers who are deactivated for low completion rate. Good luck with Uber, though. Another dude said, I tap the screen to reject the offers, but sometimes my finger tapped the other by mistake. LOL, so full of it. The two buttons are nowhere near each other on the screen. DoorDash doesn't reactivate for low completion rate. You're wasting your time. Not only did they send warning emails, but the app literally gives you warnings, multiple warnings, actually every time you unassign. I'd warn you. You ignore all that. It's your fault. You prove to DoorDash that you're not reliable. Which is another one. Another one said, you don't win an appeal for being deactivated for that reason, ever. It's never happened. It clearly says in the app that if you fall below, there you go, if you fall below 90% completion rate, that you are at risk of deactivation. I get that other things happen, but this is clearly not for you if you can't complete 90% orders accepted. And one second. Sorry about that. I sneezed. With my completion rate, I remember that I never went down to 9%. It was always 100%. On the reason they said that they deactivated was because I was quote unquote late to pick up the food and late to deliver it. When in fact, that could be further from the truth. And people say, oh, that's BS. If I were to say that right now on Reddit, people would say, oh, that's BS. You're just making excuses. No. Number one, people don't know shit about that. Because I would say when I used to work for DoorDash and I used to work in the Calabasas, Northridge area, like in the Chatsworth, I would stick to the Chatsworth area. I would stay parked nearby and I just lay down, read a book and wait. Because I used to be near a restaurant called Hikari Sushi. And I would usually get a lot of orders from that restaurant. And I remember when you used to say Hikari Sushi, X amount, go there. And I used to pick it up. And it say that arrival at X amount of time. And usually because I always got there early, they would say, we would have to wait 50. I would have to wait 50 to 20 minutes for you to pick up. I was like, sure, no problem. And I would say, let me call a customer, and the customer would say, no problem. I'm sorry, you have to wait there. I said, no, it's just part of my job, And sometimes when I used to deliver the food, it would always be out of the area. And usually, like Reseda, that was not in the Calabasas, Northridge area. That used to be in the Encino area. And I remember one time I was at I had to deliver to I think it was in Reseda, and it was like 20 minutes. And I was like, shit. And there was traffic, you know. And I remember that give me 1 second, people. Sorry about that. I used to deliver, and there was traffic, you know. And I would say I would apologize to the customer and say no problem, because there was used to be they know that I was out of the area. And I was like, sure, no problem. But when I got fired or deactivated, whatever, I say fired, I try my best to get reactivated, and they still will say no, the deactivation still stands. And like right now with Spark, I have appealed Checker to see if they could remove my. I have actually disputed that, because the Chatsworth courthouse and my DMV record, and the DMV said that my drive record is clean. So I have appealed, and once my appeal has been approved, I could try again to get approved to work with Spark again. Okay, and this is something that I've talked with my loved ones. What's the point if you try to get reactivated, to appeal to get reactivated again for a company, and they still say no? Then what's the point of it? You know, what's the point of trying to reactivate and get a job back that you were? Okay, look. If you did something like major for you to get fired, like stealing food or stealing something big, that's a different story. But if it was something minor and they still won't reactivate you, I think that's total BS. You know, because I have called DDI, I have called Spark, and I remember a dude told me earlier that some dude from Spark was supposed to pick up and deliver a PlayStation 5, and he says that he quote unquote didn't deliver. He claimed that the drivers claimed that it was stolen, when in reality he stole the machine. Of course he's going to get fired for that. And he says that because of that, he is never again going to get rehired at Spark again. Well, I was like, okay, that's something. And for other people, just because of what happened with a background check, I personally think that Checker is a company that just like to screw people over. Some people will say, oh no, they're just doing their job, but other people will say no, because some people who are working, and also they send the information to the company they're working for, and they fuck them over, you know. And you know, I have taken some massive aggressive digs at Checker on social media. And they always give you like the generic answer that they're just doing their jobs. Yet they don't do their jobs. They don't investigate fully. People are going to say, oh, you're going to sound biased. No, it's not. Because a lot of people have been screwed over, not just with delivery, with any type of a gig economy job, but even with people who are trying to look for an apartment. If they find something very, very minor, they will get shat on. And I personally believe that I believe in second chances, depending on what type of bad thing you did. If you did, like I said, if you did something like stealing food or groceries or even a video game console, of course you're not gonna get hired back at any type of a delivery driver company. That's bound for nope. You are banned forever in any type of a gig delivery driver company. You know? But if it was something minor like a ticket or something like that, I do believe that the company should give you a second chance. You know? But I believe that companies like that who don't give second chances, they say that the deactivation still stands. I personally believe that the companies like that should maybe look at themselves in the mirror, because they don't believe in second chances. I do believe that everyone deserves a second chance. And I'm sorry if I'm going on a rant here, but it's just something that I feel. A lot of people who get deactivated for something very minor and try to get to appeal to get reactivated, they say that deactivation still stands. I personally believe that's fucking bullshit. Like with DoorDash or Spark or Grubhub, I don't know about Grubhub, but with these two companies that I have worked with and other people have worked in the past, I do believe that they should get another chance. You know? But if they don't, I do believe that checkers should take at least some responsibility for screwing people over. If they like to screw over people, I do believe that they should maybe these companies should maybe they should just maybe like reconsider that not everything that checker says is correct. You know? But yeah, let's just see what happens with these deactivations, because I personally do not believe that because of what checker says and these companies just takes their word for gospel. No, I think that they should give other people another chance, you know. But yeah, let's see what happens. And all I can say is that both DoorDash and Spark Driver should really reconsider the way they should give other people another chance in terms of reactivation, you know. I mean, if they don't believe in giving other people a second chance, then they are probably like the most fucked up companies of all time. And I really don't give a shit. Fuck them. But yeah. So in another sad note, this past week on June 18th, 2024, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, Willie Mays, passed away at the age of, passed away at the age of 93 due to heart failure at his home in Palo Alto, California. And it says here that the day before, he had released his final public statement that when he said that he chose to stay in California and not attend the MLB Rickwood Field game between the Giants and the Cardinals later that week on June 20th. And today is June 21st, so it says here that Rob Manfred, the biggest asshole of baseball, the commissioner of baseball, the biggest asshole of all time, released a statement that the death of Willie Mays said, and I quote, "All of Major League Baseball is in mourning today as we all gathered at the very ballpark where a career and a legacy like no other began. Willie Mays took his all-around brilliance from a Birmingham Black Barons of the, I'm not going to say that word, American League to the historic Giants franchise. From coast to coast in New York and San Francisco, Willie inspired generations of players and fans as his game grew and truly earned its place in our national pastime. People paid tribute President Joe Biden, former President Barack Obama, San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and California Governor Newsom, Magic Johnson, Barry Bonds paid tribute to Willie Mays. To Willie Mays. What the fuck am I saying? Willie Mays Hayes, because it reminds me of fucking Major League. But sorry. But in terms of Willie Mays, he is actually considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He was a 24-time All-Star All-Star player from 1954 to 1973. He was a World Series champion in 1954. He was a two-time National League MVP 1954 and 1965. He was Rookie of the Year 1951. 12-time Gold Glove Award winner from 1957 to 1968. He won the Roberto Clemente Award in 1971. National League batting champion 1954. Four-time National League home run leader 1955, 1962, 1964, 1965. A four-time National League stolen base leader from 1956 to 1959. Hit 4 home runs in one game on April 30th, 1961. The San Francisco Giants retired his number 24. The New York Mets retired his number 24. He is in the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame, Major League Baseball All-Century Team, Major League Baseball All-Time League. He is the National he went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he was inducted in 1971, and his vote was 94.7%, first ballot. He was born in Westfield, Alabama. Mays was an all-around athlete. He joined the Black Barons of the, forgive me for saying this word, Negro American League in 1948, playing with them until the Giants signed upon graduation from high school in 1950. He debuted in Major League Baseball with the Giants and won Rookie of the Year award in 1951 after hitting 20 home runs to help the Giants win their first pennant in 14 years. 1954, he won the National League Most Valuable Player award, leading the Giants to their last World Series title before their move to the West Coast. His over-the-shoulder catch in Game 1 of 1954 World Series is one of the most famous baseball plays of all time. After the Giants moved to San Francisco, Mays went on to win another MVP award in 1965 and also led the Giants to the 1962 World Series, this time losing to the New York Yankees. He ended his career with a return to New York after an early season trade to the New York Mets in 1972, retiring after the team's trip to the 1973 World Series. He served as a coach for the Mets for the rest of the decade before rejoining the Giants as a special assistant to the president and general manager. A 24-time All-Star, this tied him for the second most in history. He led the National League in home runs 4 times and in slugging percentage 5 times while batting over 300 and posting 100 runs batted in 10 times each. Mays was also the forefront resurgence of speed as an offensive weapon in the 1950s, leading to the league in stolen bases 4 times, triples 3 times, runs twice. His 179 steals during the decade topped the major leagues. He was the first National League player to hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases in the same season, the first player in history to reach both 300 home runs and 300 stolen bases, and the second player, the first right-hand hitter to hit 600 home runs. Mays also set standards for the defensive brilliance, winning 12 consecutive Gold Glove awards after the creation in 1957. Still a record for outfielders, he led the National League fielders in double plays 5 times and assists 3 times. Wow. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama in 2015. Overall, Willie Mays left a long-lasting legacy. Sad that he passed away at the age of 93, but his legacy will live on. And all I can say is, rest in peace, Willie Mays. You will be sorely missed, and your legacy will live on, sir. Thank you. Even though you were played before my time, but you left a lasting impression on a lot of people and a lot of baseball players. And all I can say to you, sir, is thank you for everything. And after Jackie Robinson, you were one of the greatest, sir. So, rest in peace, Willie Mays, and thank you for everything, sir. So, well, that about wraps up for this week's podcast. And right now, I have been listening to this episode, and I want to give my opinion about this. I want to talk about for this coming week I have been watching the documentary of Who Killed WCW. And there has been it's like a mixed opinion thing. A lot of people say that there's this one fellow, no names mentioned, who is to me a complete dope. He says that nobody killed WCW. WCW lives on. Well, I don't know in what planet he lives in, honestly, but WCW is dead because of bad creative ideas, bad business decisions, all because of those higher-ups at Turner Broadcasting wanted nothing to do with wrestling. And the only reason that WCW existed was because of Ted Turner. Ted Turner loved wrestling. And even though I'm not a fan of this guy, the only reason that WCW continued to exist was because of Eric Bischoff. Both Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner were the reason WCW stuck around. You know, so I will be finishing watching the documentary, and I will give my honest opinions about who killed WCW, and I will say who was the person responsible for killing WCW. So that about wraps up for this week's podcast. I want to say thank you all for listening, and everyone have a great night. Bye-bye.